Hello everybody, and welcome back. You know how I never make scripts for these, so I'm just gonna ad-lib this. We're gonna be starting up a new series. I never finished Neil, which I probably should at some point, but we'll do that at some other point. For now, we're going to be doing readings on Reddit or 4chan that I find interesting and will pertain to the same topic every single video, of course. So, ladies, gentlemen, today is going to be r/paranormal. So, without any further ado, go ahead and grab a drink, grab a snack, and enjoy. This first post comes courtesy from Phoenix. Creepy shadow figures. This has been happening for a while now, but just recently got worse. It always happens just about sundown every 2 or 3 days or so. To brief you on what happens, so I'm usually laying in bed, reading or using my phone around this time. I hear a noise at the door. It used to be knocking, but now it's kind of banging. I get up to go check and always open the door to nothing. Sometimes hear rustling in the bushes or tall grass in my front yard, and I halls to the right of the door, and then the porch door is on the same wall as the door just a little further down the hall. I close the door and always turn to the right to see some sort of shadow silhouette on the floor next to the porch door. I also sometimes experience nausea or headaches during this time. I walk down the hall usually after I see this, only to hear more strange bangs at the door and other parts of the house. I reach the porch door, only for the shadow and noises to go away. I just go to bed usually after this, or try to forget about it to wake up the next morning to nothing. It's always just the right darkness that I can see any faces or anything like that. And I've just recently have been experiencing more than one silhouette at either the porch or different windows of my house. They all go away once I reach the porch door, though. This is really starting to scare me. Am I going insane? I've asked my family about this, and they suggested I could be sleepwalking, but my sister, who is just upstairs, says she can hear knocking, too. Our next post comes from Fruity Punchable. Dollhouse Dream. This happened a long time ago. I was maybe 5 or 6 at the time, I'm not sure. But despite being so young when it initially happened, I remember the memory clear as day. One night, me and my sister, she is 4 years older than me, were playing with our new Christmas gifts. I'd gotten a dollhouse, and we were both playing with some of her dolls, when suddenly my sister got very quiet, and I could see the look of terror on her face. I was closest to the door, as it was wide open, but I had my back turned to it. I was very confused as to why she suddenly got so scared, and I remember turning around to see what she was looking at. It was a very tall, dark figure. Cliché, I know, but that's how I remember it. We both sat staring at this figure in horror, and before we could do anything, the black figure slammed the door very violently. Keep in mind, I was right in front of the door. Both me and my sister were baffled. My dad came running and swung the door open angrily, asking why we slammed it. Of course, he didn't believe us when we told him what we saw. That's all I can remember, but for years, I had thought it was just some silly dream. But it was so vivid. So fast forward to April 2018. I'd been invited to my friend's birthday party, and the party took place at her grandfather's house. Right away as we pulled into the driveway of this house, I got a horrible feeling that something wasn't right. I tried to brush it off. I mean, it was a party after all. So we all hung out outside for a while, and then it started to get dark. We set up a tiny movie theater with my friend's mini projector, and we watched a few movies. Things were good for a while. I'd forgotten about the negative energy. But then, the last movie of the night was over. My friend had realized she hadn't shown us around the house. I was terrified to go inside. But my other friends saw it as a fun ghost hunt. Right away as we walked in, I was just overwhelmed by this horrible energy. Something wasn't right. We explored the house and we made our way upstairs. There was an old grand piano up there. I still don't know why, it was a huge house. It looked old and dusty, and I immediately wanted to go downstairs. But my other friends insisted on messing around with the piano. One of them started playing the iconic Halloween theme. Of course the piano was badly out of tune. It made the song even creepier than it already was. At that point I was ready to go downstairs and head back outside. So I made a mad dash to the stairway, but when something stopped me, I was horrified to see that it was the same black figure I had seen all those years ago. Chills went down my spine and I just froze. It was horrifying. But when one of my friends had gotten scared too, they grabbed my arm and we both ran downstairs. We stayed outside the rest of the evening, and then it was time to go to my friend's house so we could have a slumber party. The rest of the night was good. So a couple of days later, me and my sister were taking a walk across town, and I was telling her about my experience at the party. I remember saying something along the lines of, "I haven't been that scared since that black figure slammed the door in my face." She froze and turned to look at me. She explained that everything she had remembered in full detail, and it perfectly matched up with my memory. We were both shocked. We remembered the same thing so vividly, because for years we both thought it had been a dream. Not as scary as some other stories on here, but it's my personal experience, and it still spooks me to this day. Alright, our final story is courtesy of EK47. The Imp. This is an experience that I had when I was 7 years old, and is possibly the scariest and most real encounter I have had to this day, and I've had a fair few interactions. My house when I was 7 was a 3-story house, with the top floor consisting of only one bedroom, right above mine on the 2nd floor. I'm an only child, so would have to entertain myself, which involved bringing certain toys to the upstairs room. The first time I ever stepped foot into there, it felt strange. I would instantly get goosebumps, and feel like I was being watched by something. As I was young, I would just ignore it until I got too uncomfortable, and would go back downstairs. I would go up when friends were around, and we wanted some privacy from the adults. The experience never changed, though. I would also sleep with a stuffed animal, and a few months in, I would wake up with my stuffed animal propped up in the corner of my room, always facing me, and always sitting upright. As I was so young, I didn't have a concept or even knew what paranormal was, so I thought my parents would just be taking it off of me and placing it there. After waking up for school, however, this started to happen much more frequently, to the point where I wouldn't sleep with that specific one. My favorite that kept moving, of course. But no matter where I put it in my room, at some morning in the future, it would always be placed in the same area, propped up, staring at me. Eventually, I got rid of the toy. But that's where shit gets weird. One night, I wake up to a massive bang at 2 in the morning, like something hitting the floor. But when I wake up, it's dead silent and pitch black with my face facing the door. But even in the pitch black, I can make out a small creature coming into my room. It was a bold outline of a creature with pointy ears and claws, but no shadow or distinct features. Just the most intense darkness. It turns to me, and I blink. It disappears and reappears clutching my book bag hanging from the other side of my room. It was about the same size as it. Same thing happens, its head does a slow 180 and stares at me. I blink, and it reappears next to my bed again, but this time it's on the other side. On this side of my bed was my computer. An old one at the time, with a big back to the screen. It was attached to an extension cord that had a glowing red light. With another blink, the creature vanished, but the extension cord started to turn on and off rapidly. I'd been slowly rolling around over time the creature moved. After this, I rolled back to face the other side of my bed, fearing whatever it was had gone under my bed and was about to come out the other side. But nothing. I laid there for what felt like hours, absolutely gripped with fear until I fell asleep from exhaustion. In the morning, I passed off the event as being a nightmare and proceeded to do my usual routine of getting out of bed, going onto my computer to play games. I turned it on, and it's just static. Like the same as when a TV is stuck between channels. My uncle fixes computers for a living and came to inspect only to find something in it. I'm no expert, but it had been burned or destroyed. The computer was unfixable and had to be thrown out. After that experience, I moved all my toys and stuffed animals into the room next to me that was also empty. Soon enough, this room started to display the same tendencies as the room above me. Fortunately, after this was done, stuff stopped happening to me. After that day, I never felt anything weird, unless I went into the room next to me. Well, if you stuck around for this long, it must have meant that you at least enjoyed the video a little bit. Thank you very much for listening. I'm not going to be doing only paranormal readings, but I thought this would be a decent segue for entering Reddit. I can do other stuff too, of course, whether it's 4chan or Reddit. If you guys have any ideas or things that you would like for me to read, then go ahead and put them in the comments down below, and I will consider it for the next video. Anyways, if anybody has any creepy paranormal experiences, go ahead and put them down in the comments below, because I love reading those things. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for watching. You know who I am, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.